In this video, I'm going to take a look at the Snooze Band Deluxe, which is a sleep mask and headphones all in one. So let's take a look and see what's in the box. So we've got the sleep band here. On the front here, you've got stickers where the buttons are that can control the headset. Doesn't feel like these can come off too easily. I would prefer that they were a little bit more straight than this. If you press on them, there's a small click, but the unit that controls this is inside. So if we just unfold this out, it is very cushioned. I like the quality of the material that they've used here. Under here is the Velcro for the strap. And there's an elasticated loop for if you roll this up and stick it in a suitcase. So let's just check what else is in the box. We've got a pouch to put them in, USB-C charging cable, and a small manual. And that's it. One of the first things you need to do is reverse this bit of material so that the Velcro is on the right side. Now, it is a little bit fiddly and tight, and I'm not really sure why they did this. Most of the time it's going to be attached, and I can never see myself turning that back the other way. It was quite fiddly. Once this is Velcro together, it is really stuck on. It's very tough to pull it apart. And I do wonder how that material will fare over time if you're pulling it apart a lot. I think once you've found the right fit for you, you won't be de-Velcroing it every time. You'll just leave it and then pull it on over your head. Let's take a look around the rest of the band. So you've got this kind of flappy bit here for where your nose goes. And then feeling around inside, you can feel the outline of the little headphones here. But the whole thing is really well padded and you can't really feel those headphones. Each headphone is 30mm in diameter and just a few millimeters thick. So what we'll do next is unzip and take a look inside. Now the zip often gets caught on the little Bluetooth unit, which is a bit awkward. Now you'll be nudging into that every time you need to recharge it, so just bear that in mind. The unit lives inside a small pocket here. If we pull it out, you can see where those buttons are. Now that pocket allows it to kind of line up with the labels that have been stuck on the front of the headband. So when you put it back in, you'll need to get it to line up with the labels as best you can. And I have found that that unit can slip around a bit so it's not in alignment with the labels, which is a bit awkward. There's a USB-C charging socket here. When it's charging, the LED will be red, and then when it's full, it'll be blue. Another thing you'll need to do when you first get this is adjust where the speakers are. They are really awkward to move around, but I suppose once you've got them in the right place, they're not going to move easily. And you will want to remove all of this if you're going to wash the headband. For a change, it's worth reading the manual to see what all the buttons do. Now you've got 3 buttons, but how you press them determines what they do. So to power it on, press and hold the kind of cloud button for over 3 seconds. And that turns it on or turns it off. And then you can look down the rest of it and see what you can do here. You're going to have to learn what each of these does. Otherwise it's a pain to take the headband off to see which button you need to press. One of the things I really like is the built-in white noise mode. And you can cycle through these using the minus button, tapping that twice. And I think there are about 11 different tracks. The one I use the most is just a generic white noise sound, but there are things like a rainstorm or a stream, that kind of thing. Now it does have Bluetooth, so you can pair it with your phone and play anything you like through it, including music or whatever. Pairing was relatively straightforward. I have seen it lose the connection details, which was a bit of a pain that I had to repair it, even though I had paired it just the day before. I've tested this for a few days at home. I've actually been pleasantly surprised by the quality of the audio coming from it, and it does what it's supposed to do. It does help block out the sound at night, and it did feel like it was doing the job. However, the price at £55 does seem on the high side for what you're getting. So I do question whether I'm going to return this in the 15-day money back period. However, I do have a trip to Rome coming up with the family. We're going to be stuck in the same hotel room for about 4 nights. So it's going to be a bit of baptism by fire. Let's find out what I thought after the trip and whether I'm going to keep them. Okay, so I'm back from my trip to Rome and it went pretty well. However, I got some feedback. So the first thing is that there's no warning of battery level unless you check in Bluetooth settings on your phone. And even then, those readings really aren't that accurate. I could see it using maybe 30% from full in about 8 hours. But later on, maybe it would report 20%, dropping to 10% almost immediately, and then went off a minute later. So I would suggest charging this nightly. Otherwise, it's going to cut out during the night when you least expect it. It would be good if it read out a percentage of battery remaining when you turned it on, but I don't think it would be that accurate either. The battery could be a bit larger without affecting the weight too much, and then at least you could go 2 nights without charging. I used the white noise tracks for a few nights in a row. It does remember which white noise track you were using, but not the volume level, so you have to set that each time, which is a bit annoying. The white noise tracks that I tried looped after about 1.5 hours, but it's not a subtle transition. It cuts out and then starts up again, and it woke me up nearly every time. The timed cutoff just cuts out, which also woke me up. A fade out would have been a lot better. The buttons click too loudly. I had feedback from the family that they heard me adjusting the settings during the night. If you do turn over a lot, it does tend to twist the band around, so you end up having to adjust it to get the headphones back over your ears fully. In spite of these downsides, it does do what it's supposed to do. It was a really close call about whether I was going to send it back though, because £55 is a fair amount of money for something that's a little rough around the edges. I have decided to keep it, since as long as you charge it every night, the battery won't be an issue, and then using Bluetooth with your phone and using an app cancels out a lot of the other feedback I had. It just negates the benefit of having all the white noise tracks built into the headset, which is a bit of a shame. I hope you found this review useful. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions. Thanks for watching. See you next time.